Excited to kick things off. So I'm Kelvin, VP of Sales for SubcontractorHub, joined today with Renee Surratt, our VP of Marketing, and Steve Dahl, our CFO. Collectively, between the three of us, we've got over 15 years of experience in the solar space in various roles, from at the kitchen table selling deals all the way through to business development and creating $500 million solar companies from the ground up. So we have a wealth of experience that relates to what you guys are doing on a day-to-day business to grow green energy across the nation. And we're excited to share with you today the top 3 ways that we believe are effective to scale your solar business. So I do want to just mention that Q&A is highly welcome and encouraged. Please make sure to put those questions into the chat bar on the right-hand side, and we will address those questions at the end of our call. So again, welcome if you're just joining. And Renee, let's go ahead and cover the 3 things that we're going to be talking about today. We are excited to have Renee talk to some of the effective marketing strategies that we see getting traction. Now, across our platform, we have thousands of users that are generating leads and bringing them into our system. So we get to hear directly from those folks that are generating leads what's working. And so Renee has filtered some of that information into a great piece of content today. We'll follow that with me taking you through sales velocity. We've got an MIT study that talks about how the speed at which you take your customer from initial interest to sale can vastly affect your ability to win that customer. So we'll talk about some ways to speed up your sales process. And then we'll close with myself and Steve talking through some great ways to look at how you scale your business in a way that is asset light. We've heard a lot of contractors struggling in this new environment with rates changing, both at the utility level and on the borrowing side. And having ways to grow your business without the cash crunch is something that's going to be mission critical for healthy businesses growing here in 2024. So we're excited to share some ideas that we have around those 3 pieces. So with that, go ahead and hand it off to Renee to jump into the marketing side of our presentation today.
Thank you, Kelvin, and very nice to meet everyone. So like Kelvin said, I'm going to be guiding you through the vital topic of effective marketing strategies for the solar industry specifically. In today's digital age, where mastering the strategies that we're going to go over are going to be the key in scaling your business. So let's dive into our first topic, which is going to be leveraging digital platforms for targeted outreach. In a world where digital presence is paramount, platforms like social media, online advertising, email marketing offer an unprecedented opportunity for reaching your ideal customers. Now, the key understanding here is who is that target audience that you're trying to go after, right? Who are they? What are their needs? What are their pain points? Or what is driving them to be in that bucket of your audience base, right? So utilizing analytics like this can help us create campaigns that speak directly to those interests or pain points, leading to higher engagement rate and conversion rates overall. For instance, let's go through a well-crafted social media campaign for solar industry specifically, right? We'd want a campaign targeted to homeowners specifically that maybe are interested in sustainable living or are fans of pages of home improvement pages or have been just bought a new home, right? Those types of individualized targeting can significantly boost your brand's visibility and your customer base. Some things to keep in mind here is for effective growth would be identifying that target audience directly and not just doing a broad spectrum of, oh, I'll pull from everywhere, right? Identify truly who that customer is and create personas of what that ideal customer looks like to be able to help tailor that marketing. Develop content that addresses their interests or concerns about going solar as well. If you just go out with, hey, I'm going go solar for or X amount off or whatever, everyone in the industry is doing that. But if you address their concerns, you target directly what their pain points are, that's going to guide more customers into you, especially if you're giving them information and knowledge that they need to be able to make an informed decision. Another way to leverage these social platforms is becoming consistent on your posting schedules. So sharing customer stories, sharing the humanized portion of your brand is a great way of creating that social content, but allowing customers to know who the people are behind the business name and how you're driving success for other people like them. Other ways would be experimenting with online advertising, right? Try different types of ad messaging and see what resonates best with that target audience. Sometimes we think we know what's best, or we think we know what our audience wants, and then our ads will tell us the complete opposite, that their customers maybe want or see something that is different than what you're offering, and that's where they're driving their business to. And then delivering more personalized content. I'm going to talk about this one a lot today, but in general, we're seeing that in this new era of digital transformation, customers are wanting personalized content. Look at how you jump onto Amazon, and Amazon tailors what you are seeing based on your previous search histories and based on the likes that you have throughout your search in other platforms. This tailors it to where customers are having a unique experience directly based on their interests and needs. Solar is no different. We have to create personalized content in order to thrive in this new digital era. Now, a big part of thriving in this digital era is implementing SEO strategies. When we see search engine optimization, most people try and understand why it's so important. Sorry. Simply put, SEO is so important because it's being visible where your customers are searching. And nowadays, that's online. You don't see a ton of companies marketing or doing things on newspaper ads anymore or sending things out with direct mail because our customers are online for a good portion of their day. So why not tailor them and show up where they are? With SEO and the changes in search history itself, like Google SGE or Search Generative Experience, the whole world of how we target and how customers are getting information have changed in a very exciting way. With that being said, you'll see SGE on the screen here. And if you haven't heard of SGE, it is Google's new enhanced AI that they've released that creates AI or uses AI to generate quick, concise, and informative overviews of search topics. So this is a silly one where someone searched wanting to see an image of a capybara wearing a chef's hat and grilling bacon and eggs, right? Very silly example. But as you can see, Google was able to draw from other places on the internet to be able to give that tailored experience to them. Just like we used to see with keyword research, right? We used to only do SEO based on keyword research and optimizing directly for what those customers are searching for. That is still in place today. However, it's changed with the way of AI. When you're looking at Google now, if you type in a long tail search history of like, how much does solar cost per kilowatt for a 1,200 square foot home? You're going to see Google's AI bots search the web and populate an AI driven answer above all other search results. Now, this can be scary because AI is giving them the answers rather than customers going directly into your links and searching through you at all. But with these massive changes, we can't just throw in the towel. We have to optimize for what Google and everyone else is doing. And the way we do that is to kind of throw those traditional marketing pieces out the window. And I know that can be scary, but it's going to come back to that personalized content, right? Your content has to be personalized, but also thought-provoking and deep, rich content that sets you apart from the generic content everywhere else that's been created. Before it was keywords and loads of content. Now it is deep content, rich content that AI can optimize towards and drive traffic back to you in order to increase that traffic and generation on your website. But key point here, everyone's using AI to create content. Well, Google, Bing, other search platforms are now using their bots to recognize it when something is fully AI generated and taking it to where it actually ranks you lower and pushes you down and does not use you inside of that AI functionality. This is super important because what you need to do is humanize the content. You can use AI to help, but humanizing the content and making it more broad stroke and in depth will help you rank higher and ultimately rank within these AI generated forums. Now, when we're talking AI, we also have to talk the new direct-to-consumer movement, because along with AI and everything where the industry is going, direct-to-consumer and online capabilities are where consumers want to buy. We'll start with Tesla. Tesla started this movement years ago where they offered the capability to purchase solar fully online within a few button clicks. This changed the way that consumers think that they can buy. It's like the Amazon marketplace of solar, essentially, right? So you have the capability to buy online without ever talking to anyone. And through COVID and what we saw with the way the industry has shifted, more and more customers want this easy buying experience rather than going through long-tailed process of people knocking on their door, doing in-home visits, even virtual consultations. Sometimes customers don't want to talk to anyone, but they want the information, transparency, and pricing, and the capability of doing it on their own. Now, with SubcontractorHub, we actually have a white label tool that allows for you to offer this to your homeowners. With our tool called Easy Quote, you have the capability of creating a fully customizable online experience for customers to go solar online. This is, like I said, modular and customizable to where you can do this just for lead generation into your sales teams or do a full scope where customers can actually transact fully online. Now, a lot of questions we get about this tool is, well, I don't want to cannibalize my internal sales teams, right? That's huge. You don't want to put something online that's a different pricing or anything to where customers are going to look at what your sales reps quote versus what's online and then decide to go the other way and then lose sales teams. With Easy Quote combined with SubcontractorHub's sales velocity tool, you can actually grab the quotes that your sales team is generating, and those same pricings and quote will then grab the address that the customer is putting online, grab that quote and optimize the system for it to where it will be seamless with what your sales rep quoted them. And then your sales rep can still get that commission and traction from them going online as well. Heck, we've seen some companies whose sales reps don't want to have to go build proposals anymore. They'll walk a customer step by step of the online tool to then get the same commission for doing the same thing. So This tool allows for you to get into that direct consumer movement in any way that you find possible and increase your sales, or go back to your dead pipeline and allow for you to create new revenue streams for the business based on things that you are unable to get in touch with on a normal sales flow. Now, I know that was a lot, but when we're talking about sales, I definitely want to hand this over to Kelvin so that he can go into other ways to optimize your sales teams.
Yeah. Great job, Renee. And to dovetail on what you just spoke about, the direct-to-consumer movement is happening across all industries, right? You see it with mortgage companies, you see it with purchasing cars. Solar is headed that direction, and you want to be on the front end of that. You don't want to be a late adopter trying to figure this out years from now. And that doesn't just apply, though, to the direct-to-consumer side. We also want to look at sales velocity and how you can make your process for your sales reps easier and faster. What that means is, can I take a customer? Let's say they're knocking a door. Can I take that customer using technology that's available today and not just book an appointment, but can I transact with them? And can I do that from the industry standard, which is 6 to 8 hours? Can I bring that down to an hour, 30 minutes? So an interesting study done by MIT, and this number, take it with you because it will define how you convert in 2024. According to MIT, 78% of customers purchase with the first responder when they make an outreach. Now, in the solar world, we're accustomed to a customer entering their information somewhere online, and they get a call from 10, 15, 20 contractors, all of them saying, hey, I can get you a quote. I can get you a quote. If you're the first to respond, you have an overwhelming chance to capture that business. So that needs to happen in the first 5 minutes. But once you get the customer on the phone, how long does it take you to get to the point where you can present a sale to them? In a lot of cases, technology that's available today through various sales platforms can take anywhere from 20 minutes to complete a design up to, in some cases, hours or overnight, depending on the service provider that you're requesting your design from. When you're talking about a competitive market where dozens of contractors are calling your customers, you can't afford to wait 6 hours for a proposal to come back. So part of what SubcontractorHub is doing is driving your speed from lead to proposal down to under 2 minutes. So what we're doing is allowing the rep to collect usage, select the utility, estimate the rate plan and costs, take one button click to design a solar system, and within minutes, you have a quote that you can present to the customer. So this speed from hours down to under 5 minutes means that whether you're at the door or whether you're picking up the phone to work with your customers, you have a pathway now to go from lead to contract sign in minutes. So that technology is a big part of our mission to provide value to the industry. But when you think about it, it's more than just the design, right? We've all gone through and made a design, decided and talked with the customer about what financing they're going to have. But 9 times out of 10, the customer is going to throw you a curveball. They're going to say, hey, I'm interested in cash only when you pick up the phone. And then all of a sudden you start building rapport. You learn that their partner wants to look at financing. And then all of a sudden you're needing to compare options. And so one of the pieces to sales velocity for us is the ability to stack financing options side by side. So what you do here is you now give the sales rep the power to be comfortable having a conversation with the customer about how they want to buy. Now, in typical situations that we see with lots of contractors nationwide, is they have a go-to loan product, and then they have a go-to lease product or PPA. And in order to present one of those options, that requires them, what we call, to bounce platforms, right? So they have to bounce into the financing portal, build the quote, 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then the customer says, I don't want your loan, show me the PPA. Now you got to bounce again to another portal, and you have to look at spending time rebuilding the estimate to show them that. What we do in our platform is in one click, you can bounce between without having to leave our platform to do that. So this gives the sales rep the ability to say, sure, let's look at the lease. Let's look at the PPA. You want to look at a different loan? You can have a very fluid conversation, and it's not taking you any additional time to find that right product for the customer. So sales velocity is such a mission critical piece of what I think is going to drive success in 2024. There's too much competition. You can't afford to take an hour to build a quote, get back to the customer. So having tools that reduce that friction is what we're all about and what we think you'll need going into this year. So with that, I'd love to move us into and bring Steve here in a moment into our conversation about how you scale your business asset light. It's one thing to sell. And in a lot of ways, you'll hear contractors say, selling is the easy part. That's the exciting part. But it's from sale to PTO, that's the meat and potatoes. That's where you make your money. How can we do that in ways that are scalable, don't require as much money to do that? So one of the ways we do that is through AI. Now, we showed you AI on the front end, which is a quick design that the sales rep can present to the customer in the home. Other ways that we look at AI is how can we make it so your project management team can find the right AHJ information without needing to memorize it. So we have AI that will crawl the web and will allow you to basically know exactly what's required depending on different territories that you're selling in. Also have the ability with AI to look at how you complete your design package. And in many cases, maybe allow you to use service providers who can provide engineering stamps, site surveys, etc. If you can find ways to do that without needing to have an entire team in-house, if that saves you money, now you have the ability to take that job to PTO without needing to have so much cash intensive in that process. So acquiring customers more effectively, that reduces your cost. And then on the back end, can we give your customer visibility with automation? So when we think about a job, you want to have momentum that just naturally happens, right? Think about leaning forward as you start to walk, right? You start to get momentum. With construction, how many times does this happen where you're doing your job? You just don't have time to pick up the phone and tell the customer, your job is at site survey or your job is in permitting and it's with the county, right? It's happening. The customer just has no idea that that's going on. So one way that we see that being solved in the industry is through automated customer portal communication. So with our platform, SubcontractorHub, the way we do that is as your job moves from stage to stage, site survey, design, permitting, install, we update the customer via text and email, and we let the customer know, hey, your job is moved now to design. Congratulations. Here's what that means. This is all in a branded experience that looks and feels like your content. So it's building your brand as a contractor. And the customer, when they go to give a review, they're going to mention that you did a great job. When we see reviews that are 1 stars, it's always about communication and missed expectations. So if you can do that automatically without needing to pick up the phone or type an email, that's the way to do it. Now, project managers are sometimes handling up to 200-300 jobs at a time. There's just no time for them to do that one-off touch point, and our systems allow you to do that in an automated fashion. So if you can do that, if you can communicate to your customer and you can do it in ways that are automated, you reduce the friction between you and your customer, And you also open up opportunities to have service providers, again, like the site survey or like the engineering stamps, provide those services to you without needing to have that burden on your company. So with that, I'd like to hand it off to Steve, our CFO. He's had over 15 years beyond the solar industry and structured finance, a wealth of information and knowledge about running a construction company and watching the dollars and cents that flow in and out. So Steve, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. Look, to me, timelines are the currency of a solar installation, right? Full stop. And the problem that I see that keeps hurting companies, and we've had some really high profile belly flops here for some companies in the last month alone, is it relates to the timing it relates to the working capital and the instability that working capital creates. So the problem is that you're a vendor. So when you're an installer, your vendors look to you as being the customer, but you're not really the customer. The customer is a guy, the homeowner that's going to be paying you. So when they finish their jobs or when they deliver those materials, when they, or in some cases, you have to buy those materials up front, they expect to be paid on that cycle. Well, your cycle to get paid for that installation or to get paid by that customer may be slightly different than theirs because you have weather uncertainties. You have material shortages that may hold you up. You have other delays that relate between the AHJ that may not want to finish that inspection or the utility that just takes that extra 2 weeks to do the PTO. And your payment is going to be contingent on a different set of factors. They've already delivered their service and they're looking to you as a customer. And to a certain extent, they understand, hey, look, you're looking to get paid too, but to a certain extent, they don't care. And that difference between the time when you've got to pay your bills and the time that you get paid, it is, I think, the biggest source of instability in this industry. I think it creates additional cost, and I think it creates a tremendous amount of uncertainty among all the participants because everybody's like, their expectation is to get paid when they deliver that service, no matter what. And so what we have is when you think about why these companies why these companies are going away, it's that they've had to finance their growth on the backs of their vendors. And you can't do that. You can't certainly do that at any kind of scale. And so we have two potential solutions that I just wanted to raise for you. The first is called supply chain financing. And it's available on our platform. You just have to sign up and do it. It's very quick. And what that means is that you've done an installation, you've bought the materials, or you want to purchase the materials, or you've already bought them and you're going to be expected to pay for them, but you haven't quite been paid by that job yet. And so what you can do is you can use, we have a partner, Lendica, that you can use, and you can go into Lendica and you can say, look, I've got a $15,000 material bill, I've got a $10,000 installation bill from let's just say you subcontract that, and I've got a sales order that I need to pay. Well, you can effectively borrow that money on the spot. They'll give you a relatively good unsecured credit line, and that credit line will enable you to borrow that money and pay that vendor directly. So it does two things. The first thing it does is it creates it creates a little bit of breathing room for you if you have some unforeseen delay in the installation process. So if you're still waiting for your money to come in and it's going to be coming in the next week, 2 weeks or whatever, you can go to Lendica. What they're going to provide is a short-term loan. It can vary anywhere from 1 week of loan to 6 weeks, in terms of its loan volume. It's a pretty competitively priced. They'll pay that bill for you, and then you'll pay them back when you receive that money. It's a good service to provide. And what we found is that it does two things. The first thing is it creates a better rapport with your vendors, because now all of a sudden they're no longer dependent on you collecting the money for the installation. They can be paid time certain, after they deliver. So they can say 5 days after you've delivered those materials, I'm going to pay you, or 2 days after you've installed that project and we're satisfied that you've installed that project, I'm going to pay you. You'll find that one, it creates a better relationship with that vendor, but probably more importantly, you're going to find some cost savings for it. And so we did a bunch of analysis for it when I was at some of the previous companies I've worked as the CFO for. And what we found is that the discount that we're able to achieve from the vendor usually exceeds the cost of the borrowing. And so this is a profit center program in addition to, there's a bunch of intangibles related to just getting some better service. And they're a little bit harder to quantify, but we know that they're there. So anyway, we wanted to alert you to this. You'll be, when you're on our platform, you'll be able to reach out, and there'll be a button to hit for Lendica if you want to finance those purchases. It's a very easy application process. I can tell you, having done this myself, the entire process is probably the first time through is less than 15 minutes. And then from that point on, the process is about 5 minutes in terms of borrowing for an individual shipment or an individual installation. So anyway, something to talk about, and happy to take questions on this directly after this meeting or directly via email. There's a second thing that we're also doing. Some of our, so the finance companies that are our partners in this, they're also very aware of this challenge. And what they see is that this instability right now, they're paying the contractor directly. And that the only reason they can do that, it's the only person that makes any sense, because they're governing that overall installation. What we've done with SubcontractorHub is that we monitor that entire, we have the information on that entire installation. And so what we're doing is saying, well, we know when that this is done. We know that, this is what we owe for materials, because here was the original order from the BOM. Here was a bill of lading that came in there, but we had 3 change orders from there, and we can reconcile all that into a single bill and make sure that person gets paid. So what we're offering is a direct payment. And if you're sitting especially as an EPC contractor, you're sitting as a building products distributor or something that's done some sales, or a sales org that has sold into one of these, and you're used to now being dependent on getting that your money from the contractor, we're going to eliminate that. And you're going to be paid when the job itself funds. You'll be paid directly at that time. And our hope is that can, at least on these jobs that are funded by these larger finance companies, that can eliminate a lot of the uncertainty in the process. They're concerned, when they look at this thing, they have problems with, they know that jobs, probably the installation timelines are slower than they'd otherwise like to be because of some of the issues that this financial, the current financial structure creates. So again, just I'm glossing over a lot of details, but I'm happy to answer questions after this call or whenever it's convenient, because I think we're hoping that the combination of these two, or some combination of these two solutions, helps out here. With that, I'll turn it back to Kelvin. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, and Steve, I can't understate the importance of what you just had on the screen. I've personally, prior to working here with SubcontractorHub, been in the dealer role, chasing money from the EPC to the tune of way more money than I wanted to remember. I'm trying to block it out of my brain, but it is so powerful for the dealer to know and have the peace of mind, but the other players in that supply chain to know that they're going to be able to make whole, and that the contractor doesn't have to have that burden, right? And that just allows the contractor to do what you guys do best, which is to put glass on the roof and not have to worry about the wolves at the door. So I think that's a huge piece. We see it all the time. Companies grow themselves profitable jobs, grow themselves right into a brick wall, and they do that partially for what you're showing here on the screen. So with that, Renee, I'll leave it to you to sum us up, and then we can get to any questions.
Awesome. Sorry about that, guys. Awesome. I completely agree. It's a lot of what we talked about today has been very valuable. But for you guys on the call, we definitely wanted to do the key takeaways. Obviously, starting with marketing, doing the prioritizing your online presence and where your customers are, and making sure that you find them where they want to buy. Obviously, number 2, asking the time dynamics in sales. As Kelvin said, and with the MIT study that was done, we have to interact with customers when they want to be interacted with, whether that's making sure that we're the first company to reach out to them, to getting them their first proposal, or the communication of just keeping in touch with customers throughout the process, right? and making informed financing choices and allowing your sales team to use tools to optimize for different financing options and allowing your customer to be able to see those as well. And then in this new day and age, we know we have to leverage AI for business growth. If you're not using AI in any sense right now, I would absolutely urge you to start looking into AI tools from companies out there. There's ones for content, there's ones for sales optimizations, there's ones obviously inside our tool that we're using as well to offer to you guys. AI is a big portion of where every company is going, and if you're not adapting for that, you will be left behind, unfortunately. And then, as Steve said as well, I know it wasn't on this slide, but it's super important to make sure that you're staying ahead of those costs and using whatever tools necessary to make sure that your business is optimized for scale and keeping everything asset light as you do that. Now we're going to open up to you guys for.
I want to mention to draw your attention to the offers
Yes.
tab. If you guys are interested in learning more about some of the tools that we have on our platform, we would love to show you around, take you on a demo, and talk more about how we can help your business grow this year.
Yep. So it's in the offers tab for the link, but you can also scan the QR code here to be able to book for any of the products that you guys saw today.